Those of you watching that wild Memphis-Houston game that the Tigers pulled out in the end. This is Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City at a crucial Big Ten West matchup today for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, 16th ranked, and the Iowa Hawkeyes. The Huskers have a chance to get into the Big Ten championship game, but first they have to win today and apply some pressure to Wisconsin, who plays Minnesota tomorrow. Iowa's had the ball twice, not been able to get a whole lot going on offense. This is Nebraska's second possession. Tommy Armstrong, their quarterback, has a bad hamstring. In fact, both of Nebraska's top two quarterbacks on the depth chart are injured coming into this game. Armstrong will throw to his top receiver, Jordan Westerkamp. And he'll have a nice gain out close to first down yardage. I'm Alan Bestwick, College Football Hall of Famer. Coach Mike Bellotti is with me. Let's talk about the Nebraska quarterback situation.
Well, for a guy who did not practice all week, he practiced all week, but did not run full speed. He's doing fine today. Seemingly, they've had some quarterback runs. He's throwing the ball on the move and seems to be doing fine. But he's a great competitor, a warrior. He would have played whether he's injured or not, but I think the coaches and the players have confidence and trust in him.
Injured a left hamstring on a touchdown run against 2 weeks ago against Minnesota. Did not play last week. His backup, Riker Fife, played last week, broke a bone in his non-throwing wrist last week. The third quarterback on the depth chart has only played as a holder on place kicks this year. Here's a look at that touchdown run that caused the injury a couple of weeks ago.
Well, you see, he's going full speed. He gets tripped up right there, and then he tumbles over and flips. And I'm not sure where it occurred, but certainly he could not get off a field at that point. He is yet to run full speed until the start of this game.
Initially, the Nebraska staff, the coaching staff, was told by the medical staff not to expect him not only last week, but not to expect him this week. But they fought out of the box a little bit about their medical treatment. As you look at Riker Fife, he's got a cast on his left hand, but he's the number 2 who played a week ago. Armstrong throws. Has his tight end, Sethan Carter, and they'll move the chains for the Huskers. So Riker Fife played a week ago. Pretty decent game. It was a win over Maryland, but broke a bone, had a pin inserted into his left non-throwing wrist. Zach Darlington, again, only played as the holder on place kicks. Armstrong, with some rather innovative treatment out of the Nebraska medical staff, got himself ready to play, though until this game started, had not run full speed on any quarterback run in practice this week or in the warm-up today. Timeout signaled Nebraska. Timeout, we'll take it with him. No score here in Iowa City. You're watching ABC Afternoon College Football, presented by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry. Kinnick Stadium, Iowa City, just what you love. November afternoon, 38 degrees, overcast, a full house for a strength-on-strength game between Iowa and Nebraska.
Right, and the strength of Iowa is like a heavyweight boxer. They're a body puncher. They're going to continue to play well on defense and offense and attack the line of scrimmage. Nebraska a little bit more athletic and will be able to take some shots and get the quarterback out in space.
So the Huskers ball, 1st and 10 at their 45-yard line. Armstrong with a keeper on the read, won't get far before he's wrapped up and dropped. Anthony Nelson got him.
2 things on that play. The exchange was not clean. He wasn't certain he wanted to keep the ball, or the running back tried to grab it. But then when he took off, he did not run full speed. I think he's still trying to play in guarding that hamstring.
Well, certainly it's going to be something worth watching all game long, and we'll just see if Armstrong is able to be as effective as the Huskers need him to be.
And the brace may inhibit it a little bit too.
Going to throw a little too far out ahead of Jordan Westerkamp, and it brings up 3rd and long. This is the normal Tommy Armstrong.
Yeah, watch what he does. And here's his pass, and then he just gets out. He's so fluid, got good arm strength down the field. He can make plays with his feet. And then this is a draw play that actually won the game against Oregon earlier in the year. You see him just take off. He can make people miss. He's got the top-end speed that puts a lot of stress on a defense.
0 for 3 on 3rd downs early in this game are the Cornhuskers. Bodies coming in. Gets it away. Missed Stanley Morgan. And it's incomplete. 4th down.
That was a pretty good throw. I think Stanley Morgan wasn't anticipating it coming that quickly, and I think they're having a conversation right now.
Well, you've got Josie Jewell coming at you, the middle linebacker for Iowa. You're going to get rid of that ball.
And Armstrong backing up, throwing off his back foot right here, anticipates and really throws a really good pass. But as we talked about, Morgan just had no idea it was coming, never saw the ball coming out of the backfield.
So fourth down, the Nebraska punter is on. It's Caleb Lightbourne. The kick to Desmond King. First in the Big Ten in punt return yards. He'll signal fair catch and make it at the 20-yard line. So opportunities on that offensive series for the 16th-ranked Cornhuskers, but they were not able to take advantage of them. And a little frustration showing early on in this one. The Hawkeye Express from nearby Coralsville. Great way to get to Kinnick Stadium. As you're watching the Big Ten on ABC on a Friday of Thanksgiving weekend. Far better to be watching football at home than to be at a shopping mall today, for sure. And Stanley Morgan getting a talking to over on the sideline after a very animated exchange between he and Tommy Armstrong, leaving the field at the end of that last series. So it's Iowa's ball, 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line. Hawkeyes so far with 28 yards of total offense. Akram Wadley will get a nice chunk on first down, about 5 yards, as quarterback C.J. Beathard, the senior from Franklin, Tennessee, leads the Hawkeye offense. He's got the best winning percentage in school history for a starting quarterback with better than 20 starts.
He's intelligent, tough, takes care of the football. He does all the checks for the run game and the pass game. Also has advantage audibles. He's just one of the best quarterbacks that Greg Davis has ever had the chance to coach.
Handed off to Wadley again. Nice shift in the hole. Got open field ahead. Akram Wadley streaking to the end zone for an Iowa touchdown. His offensive coaches told us his ability to make people miss in the hole is one of the great things to watch about him. He did there.
He's got what you don't teach, is what Coach Davis talked about.
Point after try here from Keith Duncan. The freshman kicker is blocked. Huskers with a chance to scoop. But they aren't able to make it happen. Well, all right then. Let's look at first things first. The touchdown before the point after.
Don't blink. You might miss something here now. Wadley, this is a stretch play to the left. Watch. He almost has to reach. Almost didn't get the hand up. But see what he does right here. Boom, boom. Okay, that's what you don't teach. He's got the ability. He's got instincts. And then he's got slasher speed to finish the play. Boom, boom. Okay, that's some broken ankles out there on the field.
That is the second 75-yard touchdown run of the season for Akram Wadley, the junior from Newark, New Jersey. Now, let's look at the point after try and see what happened.
Penetration comes right off the edge around the right side from the kicker's side. He just does a great job of bending the edge, getting his hands on the ball.
So 6 points on the board for the Hawkeyes, who score first. Joshua Kalu got the point after block for the Huskers. What a great environment this is for a football game. Full house here on the Friday of Thanksgiving weekend. Even with the students basically out of town, they've filled up Kinnick. And the ball has just fallen off the tee, and we'll set it up again.
These fans care about college football, and that's what has probably kept Coach Ferentz here for a long, long time.
18th season here as the head coach of the Iowa Hawkeyes. We talk about two programs whose fans are passionate about their college football team. This is Jordan Nelson for Nebraska. They get dropped at about the 26-yard line. And let's check in the studio with Stan Barrett.
All right, Alan, Taco Bell studio update. Apple Cup and Pullman. Washington out to a quick start against Washington State. Jake Browning to Dante Pettis. They've already combined for a pair of touchdowns. Winner of this game goes to the Pac-12 title game. All Huskies so far.
On the road in Pullman. All right, Stan, thanks. So Nebraska with the ball at its own 26-yard line. 1st and 10. They run the jet sweep. Far side, it's Pierson-El, and he doesn't get much on 1st down. Good pursuit outside by Desmond King and Bo Bauer for the Hawkeyes.
Desmond King hasn't had a lot of passes thrown his way this year because he's so good. He's a lockdown corner, but he's also become a better tackler simply because he's had to be. And this Iowa defense keeps everything in front, and they don't beat themselves. Every coach in the league will tell you that.
Trey Bryant into the backfield with Tyrell Newby. That's Newby motioning, and Bryant with the ball. Wrapped up in the backfield and dropped. Matt Nelson got through and got him again.
Bryant has a lot of top-end speed and some great quickness, but again, congrats to the Iowa defense. The Hawkeyes just seem to know where to go. They play very solid up front, and they're going to put a lot of pressure on. Their linebackers slow play things. They make it cloudy for the offensive line and for the running backs.
Got an injured Hawkeye down, 40-yard line near side. It's Manny Ragumba, the freshman cornerback, who is being attended to by the Hawkeye medical staff. If you weren't with us earlier during the end of the Memphis-Houston game, Drake Kulik, the fullback for the Hawkeyes, was injured on the very first play of the game, taken off the field on a cart. Injury timeout here in Iowa City. That's Manny Ragumba, a freshman cornerback for the Hawkeyes. One of the players who's stood out this year, headed toward the Hawkeye locker room as we check the big picture on the day, which is Nebraska needs a win today to put some pressure on Wisconsin for tomorrow. Badgers play Minnesota tomorrow. If Nebraska wins today, Badgers have to win that game to secure the West spot in the conference championship game.
As a coach, I just say win, and it's ours.
So 3rd and 6 for the Cornhuskers. They need the 36-yard line. Armstrong with time, batted down. That was tipped, coming through the line of scrimmage. Anthony Nelson again.
Anthony Nelson's got long arms. He's got length. Once he gets into you, he's got great push. He's one of their best pure pass rushers. See him coming from just pushing the pocket right there, and then that long arm. He just guess he got enough. It wasn't him exactly, but he put pressure on Armstrong, made him step up in the pocket, and got the ball blocked.
That's Jaleel Johnson that maybe got a hand on it instead, 67. So Nebraska 3 possessions and 3 punts now. And here's Caleb Lightbourne on. Gets it away, Desmond King. Fair catch, drifting in the wind, ball's out, but he gets it back at his own 23-yard line. Chris Budden is at field level for us today. Hi, Chris.
Hi. Well, you're talking about Tommy Armstrong's unusual treatment that he's using. It's basically like they went to the hardware store. It's a very thick piece of elastic that they've taped around the back of the thigh down to the calf. It works basically as an artificial hamstring. When he needs it most is when he's bent over. It helps take the load off of that injured left hamstring. I talked to Coach Riley this morning, and he said he talked to Tommy about how fast he'd be able to go. He said, Coach, I'm good. They're just not quite sure what his full speed will look like today.
All right, Chris, thanks. So keep an eye on Armstrong with his elastic hamstring as the Hawkeye offense starts from their own 23. C.J. Beathard to throw. Wide open receiver. McCarron's got it. Foot race down the far side. Another long Iowa touchdown. Senior receiver takes the pass from the senior quarterback, C.J. Beathard, 77 yards for the second long Hawkeye score of the day.
Once again, this play set up by Nebraska's respect for the running game of Iowa.
Now here's Keith Duncan on for the point after try. Remember, the Huskers blocked the last one. This one is good, and it's 13-0 Iowa.
What Iowa loves to do is fake the run and then get isolation one-on-one in that secondary. That's what they get right there. They get caught with their eyes, Kyron Williams' eyes in the backfield, looking at the play, and gets lost in coverage. You can see it start right here. Good job on the play action fake. The line showing pass, a run all the way, excuse me. And then McCarron just out racing Williams to the end zone.
Well, Iowa not exactly known as a fast strike offense, but the 75-yard touchdown run earlier from Akram Wadley, and this, the 77-yard one-play drive, Beathard to Riley McCarron, and that's the first time in the game that they've thrown the ball on first down.
They're making the most of their big play opportunities.
So after a back-and-forth struggling start, defensively both teams dominating in the early going, 13 points for the Hawkeyes in 1:27 of game time. Wow.
Mike Riley saying, I'm not worried about my quarterback right now. I'm worried about my defense.
Trey Bryant took that, straddling the goal line. A nice return out to the 29-yard line, where the Cornhusker offense will come back onto the field. Well, rivalry weekend, and Saturday the College Game Day crew goes to Columbus for the game. Number 3 Michigan and number 2 Ohio State playing here tomorrow. They'll have coverage starting at 7 a.m. Eastern. 2 extra hours of game day tomorrow with all the big rivalry games. Of course, you can stream it live on the ESPN app and on Watch ESPN app. On Watch ESPN, excuse me, one of the most storied series in college football, Michigan-Ohio State.
And 2 really good teams, and a game that means so much to not just the Big Ten, but the college football playoff.
So can the Husker offense get something going with this possession? Terrell Newby is dragging along Faith Akakati, and then Brandon Snyder, 37, came in and popped him. But a nice gain on first down for Nebraska. The numbers on Armstrong so far in this one.
You know, and we're not sure really if he can run the ball, but we know he can throw it. The problem is that hamstring may be affecting his ability to deliver the football. He and the receivers have not been on the same page every time, so the Nebraska offense needs to get on track.
They brought the freshman Trey Bryant back in. He'll have the ball here. He's run well the last couple of weeks when he's had the chance to be in the ball game and tote the ball, and he's got a first down there for Nebraska.
When in doubt, run some power football straight ahead, get everybody settled down, and throw when you want to throw, not when you have to throw, which means you get the running game going.
Bryant from St. Louis, Missouri, had career highs in carries and rushing yards a week ago. 13 carries, 56 yards.
Mike Riley said that the key for this team is to have the running game going. They have to have balance between the run and pass. He's come from a pass-happy league, the Pac-10. This is a run conference.
Armstrong going to go for it all down the field. Just too far out in front of Brandon Riley.
Brandon Riley is one of their playmakers, and I'll tell you what, he almost caught that pass. He's got some range and some speed. That ball was thrown pretty well.
Anthony Gare was right there, but a half a step behind him. And if that ball had been absolutely perfectly thrown, they might have had something. Hard to throw it perfect when you're trying to chuck it 40 yards down the field, though. Just saying.
I understand, and I agree. There's a little bit of wind going on out there, too.
Yeah. Dump it off to Bryant. Thought I might have seen a flag come in for a face mask, but no Hankies on the field. Yeah, nice gain again for Bryant.
He got jerked a little bit, but he ran through a couple of tackles, and that could have been a bigger play. Had he split those defenders, he would have been gone.
So 3rd down and 4. And again, yet to convert on 3rd down and 4 tries for Nebraska.
And this typically is a pass down. That's 3rd and a long 4.
Another deep ball. just out of the reach of Brandon Riley. Riley stumbled. He might have had a half a step at the beginning of the route, but then he stumbled when he looked back for the ball, and it's incomplete, and it's 4th down.
And I thought they had Ethan Carter right down the seam for an easy game, but they tend to obviously to think that against man coverage, they've got to go deep and take advantage of that instead of trying to throw underneath and just get the first down. So interesting play calling right now.
So Caleb Lightbourne on again to kick. Desmond King stands at his own 12-yard line. See if they can pin the Hawkeyes deep for Nebraska, though again on its last 2 possessions, long scoring plays and a bad punt. Really bad punt. That landed about 12 rows up in the grandstand.
That looked like one of my worst drives off the tee right there. That might have been a shank.
Lightbourne had some difficulties in the game last week against Maryland, and he got a pep talk on the sideline from Tommy Armstrong, who was not in uniform for that game. He came out and he kicked 3 good balls at the end of the game, his last 3 punts. But that one, a souvenir until the security guards get there.
A souvenir. Will he autograph it after the game? I don't think so.
A 5-yard net on that punt. And so here comes Iowa's offense with all the momentum on their side, up 13-0 in the final minute 15 of this first quarter. This will be Daniels. Good first down game. About 5 for LaShawn Daniels.
There's the double tight look, the 8 gaps presented to the defense. Can you cover all 8? Can you defend all 8? And they're going to push you at the same time getting up the field. 6 yards on that first carry.
Now, when we talked with offensive coordinator Greg Davis the other day, you and he had a fairly detailed discussion on the 8 gaps and what its intention was.
Well, the 8 gaps sometimes can dictate what kind of coverage you're going to get. You're going to force the secondary people to cover one of those D gaps on or you force a defensive end to play in a different alignment on a tight end.
Swing it out. It's McCarron. Makes 1 miss. And a nice drive forward. Very close to first down yardage, and think he might have gotten it.
You know, those type of plays, and McCarron's got to trust Jermanique Smith, and his ability to block the guy, because he's running out there trusting that the quarterback's going to put the ball where he wants, and that guy's going to protect me. That wasn't the greatest block in the world, but it was just enough to allow me to get up the field.
So Riley McCarron with nice yards after catch and yards after contact. And the final play of this first quarter coming up. All right, Nebraska will call a timeout just before that play snapped off. Gives us a minute for today's AT&T Insider Access, which takes us to what else? Thanksgiving dinner. Except when you have a Friday football game, you have Thanksgiving dinner on Wednesday. Both teams doing that on their respective campuses before they got down to the walkthroughs and the training table and the usual day before game routine.
I had one on Wednesday this week. I had one on Thursday with our crew. I'm going to have one on Saturday when I get back. How about you?
What you're trying to say is you've had a lot of turkey?
I have, and I got to go on a diet, I can tell you. I might be able to tryptophan out. I don't know.
Can you imagine, and I don't have the facts and figures on this. I should have asked this question. Now, can you imagine how much turkey you'd have to prepare to feed a football team? A bunch of 300-pound linemen?
Been there, done that. I don't know what it is, but it's a lot more than you and I would ever consider.
No kidding. You're worried about cooking a 15 or 16-pound turkey, right? How many of those you got to do? So 1st and 10 on the final play of this first quarter. Sean Daniels will get a couple, and the clock will hit 0 and bring the first period to a close. Couple of long scoring strikes for the Hawkeyes, have them up 13-0, and we'll be back after these messages and a word from your ABC station. The statue of Niall Kinnick, class president 1939 Heisman Trophy winner who lost his life serving our country. Stadium named for him. As you're watching ABC Afternoon College Football, presented by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry. Interesting first quarter. No penalties, no turnovers. 2 explosive plays, both on Iowa's side. A 75-yard run and a 77-yard pass for touchdowns. And it's 13-0 Hawkeyes. They have the ball at the Nebraska 38 as we begin the second quarter. Akram Wadley will get a few. You want a little comparison of how much those long explosive plays hurt? Just look at these numbers.
Well, Nebraska thought they were playing really well, and might have been because they were playing Maryland, but certainly today they talked about needing to stop the run but also not allow the play action explosives. They've already given up 2 big plays. Mark Banker there on the sideline can't be very happy. That's his defense out there, and he knows he's going to get him going here.
Third down now for the Hawkeyes. They need the 30-yard line. Beathard under pressure, unloads it. They were trying to set up the screen, and Nebraska sniffed it out. Marcus Newby came charging through from his linebacker spot.
Great job. You knew it was a screen because nobody blocked. You can see all of the defenders come through and then, oh, wait a second. But luckily they had the screen recipient covered on the outside. Beathard just having to throw the ball away.
So both the Nebraska punter and starting quarterback are numbered 16. So we look very carefully to see which unit's on the field. It is the offense. Play clock, though, down to 7 seconds, and C.J. Beathard just stepping into the huddle to call a play.
They're going to call a timeout.
That'll be a delay of game. Timeout or delay? It'll be a delay. Jeff Servinski's the referee.
Delay game. Offense. Number 16. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
So just back up the punter 5 yards to give him a little better chance to knock the ball down. The other 16 will come onto the field now. Ron Calusi, the senior punter for the Hawkeyes. I know you've got your brow furrowed up here.
Well, I'm not sure that what they were thinking, and they might have thought maybe we got to play, maybe we don't, and I'm not sure they really liked it. But sometimes you just let it happen. You're right. You could sit out there in a punt formation and go move back just to help to ensure, hopefully, pinning him deep down inside that 10-yard line. That's the goal.
So Calusi 4th in the Big Ten in punting average. Let's see if he's able to pin the Huskers back deep. Got that backward spin going on the ball, but a short kick. Fair catch signaled for and made. And Nebraska will start at their own about 16-yard line. Today's Aflac trivia question. Let's see if you get this one. Iowa has defeated a ranked Nebraska team only once in 10 attempts. When was their only win? You won't get it. Don't
worry. I'm not even going to try. I'm trying to think of decades of football, and
Yeah, I can already tell by the look on your face.
The blank stare.
That eyes rolled half up in the head.
Yeah.
Think. Yeah.
No, it wasn't coming to me, I can tell you.
Yeah. All right, from the 16, Tommy Armstrong and the Huskers looking to get something going on offense. Throw it caught far side. DeMornay Pierson-El into tight coverage, but a good throw and a good catch.
Once again, this is what Tommy Armstrong does best. Get out on the edge, run pass option. Here they play off of him. He's got a chance. Nice thrown ball. He threw it prior to the receiver coming out of the break. Nice timing and nice execution.
Joshua Jackson had pretty good coverage, but a first down Huskers out to the 32. Terrell Newby with a nice cutback before he is popped. Ball is out. Newby was hit hard, and he's down on the field.
The runner is down prior to the fumble. 2nd down. Timeout. Injury clear.
One of the things I was going to say, if Nebraska is going to get back in this game, Tommy Armstrong and Terrell Newby, the 2 guys are the biggest playmakers, have to step up.
Newby got hit hard and just bent over backwards when he had that ball. Good to see that he sat up. Watch this hit. Right here.
Well, it's the combination, too. He's being held right there and then pop. You're right. And, you know.
Yeah, knees are down there.
Was the ball out, though?
Yes, he's just losing the ball there. His knees were well down. I think that'll stand, I think.
Yeah.
Brandon Snyder, 37, was the one that really came in and laid the lumber on him.
Yeah, that was not one that he's going to remember that one for a while.
Hit hard, twisted around, both backwards and sideways. I'm glad to see Tyrrell Newby headed off the field under his own power. Good gain, so it's 2nd down and short for the Huskers. Trey Bryant comes in the tailback slot. And now a whistle. Are they going to look at this one from upstairs?
The ruling on the field was the runner was down prior to the ball being fumbled is under further review.
I think the question is whether the ball came out earlier than we can see, and I'm not sure you're going to see it on film, but his knees were definitely down. But it's a question. That ball was out for a while. Here he's got the ball. Let's take a look.
Right, knees down.
Yeah, the question is whether that ball is out, and I don't know. I don't think so. I think he still had possession, even though he didn't have it held the same way as he did when he initially got hit.
Remember, the call on the field is the runner was down. Indisputable video evidence, beyond all doubt, required to overturn it.
Yeah, and you can't see the ball from this angle, from the angle that we're getting. I'm not sure there is an angle that shows whether that ball was out against his body or not.
Now, remember, the replay officials could be looking at angles we're not seeing, but we're showing you. Yeah, see his knees down there.
Yeah, I see the knee. I agree with you.
I think this one stands.
Yeah.
But still, look at the force. Twisted.
Well, it's the double whammy. It's the guy low and 2 guys high that sandwich him. And you're right. That's a kind of contact that does a lot more damage than you think just initially.
Makes you shudder. Now, all right. So another thing I just want to see here, because Anthony
After
Gare,
further review, the ruling on the field stands as called. 2nd down.
There's Newby on the training tape. Also the replay booth can initiate a targeting call, and that was one of the things that they could have been looking at there as well, but no call made, so all good.
Right, they do. They check in any time where a player leaves the field. If there was contact, they check to make sure there was no targeting calls or fouls.
So a 2nd down and 3 for Mike Riley's Cornhuskers as they try to get something going here. Shut out so far by the Iowa defense. Armstrong keeps. And he'll have 1st down yardage out across the 45-yard line before Brandon Snyder is able to knock him down. So our Aflac trivia question. Iowa's defeated a ranked Nebraska team once in 10 attempts. When was their only win? The answer is 1981, September 12th, when Nebraska was 7th ranked and Iowa beat him 10-7. Kirk Ferentz's first game as an Iowa assistant.
Interesting. I was actually coaching then, so I probably should know that.
That's why I said you wouldn't remember, because you were so focused on what your team was doing.
That's true.
Here's a little look back. Hayden Fry stomping the sidelines for the Hawkeyes. Just a couple of touchdowns scored in the game, and that swarming Hawkeye defense brought about a swarm on the field. Look at the graphics, too, from 81, the TV graphics there.
Those were very physical teams. We played against Iowa in 89 and after that, and I remember the physicality of those teams.
Armstrong throws, got Westerkamp. He's inside the 35 to the 34. Jordan Westerkamp getting on the stat sheet for the Huskers.
Pretty quiet today because he's their go-to guy. And we've talked about now, especially if Newby's out, Westerkamp needs to make those type of plays. Great anticipation between both he and Armstrong.
The senior from Lombard, Illinois, team captain for a 2nd season. Now 36 straight games with a reception. The record is 37. The great Johnny Rogers. Bryant whistles. Play stopped. Flag down far side. Line of scrimmage.
Ethan Carter tried to get a little jump on the ball.
False start. Offense. Number 11. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
So the senior tight end from New Orleans will pick up the penalty flag, and the Huskers will back up.
One thing that Danny Langsdorff, the offensive coordinator, and Mike Riley talked about, this is a much more efficient. Their penalties are down this year. They're playing smarter, playing better. That's what's resulted in a lot of these wins that last year became losses.
From behind the chains. Westerkamp again. Didn't get much, and his late hit as well after Josie Jewell dragged Westerkamp out of bounds. He picked him up and slammed him to the ground.
Josie Jewell, the leading active tackler in the conference, but you didn't need that one. The finish on this play is a little bit too much. Got him out of bounds. That's hard. Sometimes defensive players sort of forget where they are.
After the play was over, personal foul. Defense, late hit out of bounds. Number 43, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And Mike, I know it's a high-speed game and it's a physical and an emotional game and so on, but you have to be able to kick that thing into neutral in situations like that.
It's tough, though. On a defensive player who initiates the contact on the field of play, are you looking down? You may not be able to see out of your helmet as you're making the contact. So, I don't know. That's a tough one.
Big 15-yard gain for the Huskers, though, has him down at the Iowa 20-yard line. Not much for Bryant. Jewell was in there on the stop. Careful. Jaleel Johnson with the little extra grab after the play was stopped.
Well, two of the best defenders in this league, Jaleel Johnson and Josie Jewell, combined for the tackle there. And I think you're not going to stop Jewell. I mean, he'll get some penalties, but the reality is you love defensive players that play that style of football.
One of 5 finalists for the Butkus Award. Leads the Big Ten in total tackles. Armstrong. And there's Jewell again in the middle of the action, Chris.
How's this for a Thanksgiving correlation? He's from a 20,000-acre farm that his parents take care of. When he was younger, he had to herd turkeys, clean their water bowls. He says that's where he got his work ethic from. When he talked to Coach Barons, he was talking about how they almost didn't recruit him, that he laughed about it. And he's a diamond in the rough kind of guy, but what they loved about him was his attitude.
Never stops working. And he's got some more work to do here if this Iowa defense wants to get off the field. 3rd down and 8. Receiver fell, trying to cut back. Brandon Riley tried to stop and come around for the ball, lost his footing, and it's 4th down.
Desmond King striking the ground because he thought that was a pass my way. I got a chance for an interception, especially when the receiver fell down. You can see from the field view, he's saying, oh, there's a ball right through my hands. I had another chance. He didn't get that many opportunities this year. He knows that was one that got away.
So Drew Brown, the Nebraska place kicker, was knocked out of the game against Maryland a week ago on the opening kickoff, trying to make a tackle. Trying to make a 35-yarder here to get the Huskers on the board. And does. 5 minutes into the second quarter. 10-point lead for Iowa as Nebraska has broken the shutout. Drew Brown's field goal into the All-State Good Hands field goal nets. All-State celebrating its 12th year sponsoring those field goal nets, making contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked. Millions contributed so far. 10-play drive, 66 yards. And the 35-yard field goal gets Nebraska on the board, trailing Iowa now by 10. Key plays on that drive, the one long completion that they had to Westerkamp, and then the 15-yard late hit out of bounds that got the Huskers basically into field goal range. Yet, Iowa's defense able to keep them out of the end zone.
There was a moral victory to a degree.
Desmond King at the 3. Got a seam. Closed up just as he got there. And a nice special teams play by Christian Bailey, who made the stop. Nebraska trailing by 10. Iowa's offense coming out. The famed pink visiting team locker room at Kinnick from former Iowa head coach and psychology major Hayden Fry. Mike, you brought your Oregon team here to play at Kinnick once and had to think about that pink locker room.
We did, and we couldn't find green and yellow paper, so we got bright red paper and had the GAs or the managers repaper the walls with all this other colors and stuff. And we won that day, so it must have worked for us.
There you go. Well, Iowa's winning right now by 10. They've got the ball at their own 31-yard line, 1st and 10. C.J. Beathard, the Hawkeye quarterback, will hand off to LaShawn Daniels, and he will have the ball out about a good 5-yard gain on 1st down. Hawkeyes come into this one with a 7-4 record. That loss to North Dakota State, yes, an FCS team, but a 5-time champion FCS team. Those 3 games, they lost to Northwestern Wisconsin and North Dakota State by a total of 17 points. Got blown out at Penn State, but came right back here a week later and knocked off Michigan.
And that was a huge win for this program, and they feel like they can go toe-to-toe with anybody now.
Daniels into open field. Foot race toward the pylon. He'll be dropped, but inside the 10 at the 7-yard line, LaShawn Daniels.
Speaking of going toe-to-toe, it starts up front. That offensive line's done a tremendous job. But here, just take a look. It's the power of LaShawn. Here he just runs through an arm tackle, and it's off the race. He's not quite as fast as Wadley, but he's a big, powerful back, and obviously great job getting going ahead straight down the field.
56 yards, another long play for the Iowa offense, and they have 1st and goal. They spotted at the 8.
Nebraska's defense, when you commit people to the line of scrimmage, there's no back end, no second level.
And Wadley's the tailback now. He's got the ball inside the 5, down to the 4, maybe the 3.5.
Typically, when you get a big run and don't score, you're going to get a break. But they're going to give LaShawn Daniels a chance to score this touchdown. They brought him back in the game now.
This Iowa offensive line you mentioned, they've started 3 different left tackles, 3 left guards, 2 centers, 2 right guards, 2 right tackles due to injuries and things this year. Today, the starting right tackle, Ike Bucker, wasn't sure how much he was going to be able to go. He's still in there, and they're down trying to push the ball into the end zone again from the 4-yard line.
And I was going to say in a partridge in a pear tree, but you beat me to it.
Daniels, touchdown Iowa. Let him have the carry, like you said.
Stretch play, outside zone, and great patience by LaShawn Daniels to set that up. We'll probably see it after the kick, but awesome job by him. He deserved to score that touchdown.
Keith Duncan's point after is good. And it's a 17-point lead for the Hawkeyes. 56-yarder to set it up, and a 4-yarder to finish it. LaShawn Daniels adds to the Hawkeye lead. Those supporting Big Red not having nearly as good a time right now as the home fans, as Iowa has just extended its lead to 20-3 over Nebraska. It's about halfway through the 2nd quarter, and the Hawkeyes to kick off this Husker offense, looking to try and unlock the key. They got into the end zone with a field goal on their last possession, but have yet to score a touchdown today. Jordan Nelson will down it in the end zone. Mike Riley told us they needed to get the run game going here today, and so far, they've not.
No, Nebraska is 0 for 6 on 3rd down today. They were 19th in the nation coming in. Not today. Give credit to the Iowa defense. The front 7 has done a great job of being disciplined, keeping their eyes in the right place, getting off of blocks, and making tackles.
Well, they are well behind the in-progress rushing total they should have if they're going to equal that number today of rushing yards. Remember that Terrell Newby went out of the game earlier with a really hard hit. He's been over on the bench. He's got a brace wrapped around his leg. And this is Trey Bryant, who has the ball and well pursued by the Iowa defense. Chris?
Yeah, Newby still has not been cleared to go back in. He actually re-injured an injury from earlier today. He's got got that right ankle taped. That's what he injured. But he's also having trouble putting pressure on that right knee, so they put a brace on that as well. I will get you more information when it becomes available, guys.
All right, Chris. So there's Terrell Newby, 34, the senior from Los Angeles. Trying to see if he could find a way to get back in and be effective and help his team. Meanwhile, the freshman Bryant will have it up to about the 30, going to set up a 3rd down and 5 for the Huskers, who have yet to convert, as you said, on 3rd down in this game.
And this is fairly manageable, but as we talked about, this is probably a passing situation, and there has not been a lot of chemistry today between Tommy Armstrong and his receivers.
Armstrong 6 of 14, 63 yards, no interceptions, no touchdowns. They need the 35.
Look for Westerkamp, number 1. He's the number 1 guy, and he's also number 1 in the jersey.
Armstrong across the middle, complete. And out for Stanley Morgan to pick up the 1st down, and Morgan is slow to get up off the field. And it's coming back. There's a flag in the backfield.
Holding. Offense. Number 68. 10-yard penalty. 3rd down.
It's Nick Gates.
Watch right here. Watch as this play develops, and the play's actually gone. That's the unfortunate. But you see right there the grab of the jersey and the jerk down. Didn't probably need to do that. Sometimes tackles think they can get away with that if their hands are inside.
So scratch the 3rd down conversion, and now behind the chains with a 3rd and 15.
Timing in life is everything.
What a catch. Brandon Riley stretching for that ball. Was it enough? Yes. 1st down, Nebraska.
I agree with you. That was an amazing catch. We talked about his range earlier, and certainly look at this throw. Look at the ball. Look at him lay out to catch this high-pointed, strong hands, and knowing where the sticks are. That's a tremendous effort by that young man.
The senior from Lincoln gets the 1st down conversion. Terrell Newby has come back onto the field. In the backfield, 34 for the Huskers. They're out to the 36-yard line. Newby will have the ball. And a nice gain on 1st down. He'll get about halfway there.
And he got hit earlier that could have resulted, as we talked about, in a multitude of injuries. But the fact he's back on the field and says, give me the football. That's one of those leaders. He's a senior this year. He's got tremendous work ethic, and also one of the best receivers out of the backfield.
He's never missed a game. He's been the Iron Man for the Huskers through the course of his career. So it's got a 2nd and 5 now. And we'll have it again. Just twisted down right close to the markers. That was Matt Nelson, 96, who got there for the Hawkeyes. Check the spot. It's going to be very close. Going to measure. The marker is just shy of the 46-yard line on the far sideline. And the ball is just shy of the 46-yard line at the hash mark.
You know, for Mike Riley and Danny Langsdorff, in terms of play calling, you can't panic. You got to stay with what got you here. And combination of running game and throwing when you want to throw as opposed to when you have to throw. So they had the big 3rd down conversion, but it's a combination of running the football, keeping that defense honest.
By that much.
The game of inches, as you call it.
Yeah, here's the other thing, Mike, because Nebraska deferred to start the game, they've got a chance here. If they can put together a long drive, get down the field and get into the end zone and take a lot of clock off, which is the nature of their offense, they've got a chance for a 2-for-1 here.
You're right, and there's no panic in this coaching staff. They've been around long enough, and they talked about this team, too, as a mature mix, good of old youth, veteran players and youth, and they started this turnover change last season, last couple of games, and then the bowl game that they won, I think, changed the nature of this team and the trust of the players in the coaches.
So Armstrong needs inches here. Remember that left hamstring has been an issue for him. He'll push forward and should have the yardage there for the 1st down. He only needed about an inch or 2.
You know, that's the confidence, too, in the offensive line, because a lot of quarterbacks now, with the quarterback sneak, you'll have backs behind them, pushing them. They had nobody pushing him. Of course, they may not want to injure his hamstring either.
Yeah. He had that left leg back as the drive leg on that, so I was just thinking as it was happening, is he going to have enough drive? But we haven't seen the Tommy Armstrong we're used to seeing, running all over the place and so on. He doesn't keep the ball much on their zone read plays,
which puts a lot more pressure on the other people in the offense to make plays when they have the ball in their hands.
But that's the thing. They knew that coming in. So first down, and he'll throw. Missed Riley, who was in between 3 Hawkeye defenders. Now, Armstrong is Mr. Everything for Nebraska. Record-setting, all of those categories.
Let me see this. Okay, first. Is anything else? Come on. No, that's pretty good, and that's obviously why he's so important to this program.
So second down and 10 after getting nothing on first. Here's Newby. Nope, it was Armstrong. He kept it this way, but he didn't get much.
No, and he's not capable of running full speed. He's running sort of herky-jerky, and obviously that's bothering him. And I'm not sure they should call a lot of plays where he's going to be forced to carry the football. If I were Iowa, zone read, I'd say let's make him carry the ball. Let's make the quarterback carry the ball.
So third down and long. Can the Huskers keep the drive going?
This is a play where you expect him to extend the play with his feet. He may not be able to now.
Gonna go long. Got Riley with a step, but threw it too long and incomplete. And it's fourth down.
Riley had a step. That ball was just overthrown. He did a nice job of the trajectory of the football was right. The length was just too much.
Remember earlier when Manny Rugomba went to the locker room for Iowa, that was Michael Ojemudia, his replacement at corner that they went after there with Riley. They had a step on him, but off the mark, and so the punt team is on here for the Huskers. Now remember, Caleb Lightbourne had a bad one. Last time he kicked, just a 5-yard net on the punt. Can he regroup here?
Nice punt. Very nice punt.
Fair catch taken and made at the 8-yard line, and that's where the Hawkeyes will get the board back with a chance to try and add to their lead. Went for it all on third down. Had a receiver with a step. Couldn't connect. There's what's at stake today for Tommy Armstrong and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. A win today and a Wisconsin loss to Minnesota tomorrow would send them to the Big Ten championship game. But first, they have to take care of their end of the bargain. They have to win today to try and apply that pressure to the Badgers.
And as you talked about, they're going to get the ball to start the second half, but they've got to get a stop right here and maybe get a chance to score one more time before halftime.
So as you see, 4 minutes and 2 seconds to go. Iowa starting deep in their own territory at the 9-yard line. C.J. Beathard hands off. Flags come in from about 2 different directions.
After this, holding. Offense, number 78. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
That's center James Daniels who was ticketed for that one.
And that definitely helps Nebraska. Let's take a look and see right in the center of your screen right here. See as this play develops. It happened pretty quickly. There he is. And, you know, when you got him down around the waist, it's hard to hide in the middle of the field.
His arms around the waist are something you're supposed to do when you're dancing with your wife or your girlfriend, right?
Or saving a guy who's drowning or something. I don't know.
Nothing going on that one. Josh Banderas blew it up for the Huskers.
Plus it stopped the clock, so now you're looking at second and very long in the shadow of your end zone.
Banderas, the senior from Lincoln, team's leading tackler, kind of been a tackling machine for the last 6 games. 61 tackles in 6 games, 25 of them solos.
Wrecking crew back in the backfield, but I wonder if they don't have enough timeouts to consider calling timeouts, so that's part of the problem for Nebraska. They only got 1 left, but they're certainly going to get enough time if they get a stop here.
Don't need to give up a safety here. Daniels with a hole. Across the 10, out to the 12-yard line, and gives him a chance on third down.
I was just running through some tackles. There were a couple of Cornhuskers up front that could have taken him down, and just he ran through those potential tacklers.
LaShawn Daniels now up to 91 yards of rushing in this one. Remember the big long run that set up the last Hawkeye touchdown that he came in and put into the end zone.
It'll be interesting here, see what Iowa does if they come out on a pass set and spread them out, which we're going to see. So it looks as if we're going to get a pass, although they could run the ball to run the clock.
Akram Wadley, the tailback, is the second leading receiver on the team. They get it to him here. But he's got a lot of company wearing white shirts. A cut back. Another cut. And a first down.
The coaches called it. He's got what you don't teach. Just get him the ball and let him operate. This is a screen play that starts off. He slips out to the left. Actually fairly well covered right there, but they just can't seal the deal. Cannot tackle him in space. Making some moves once again. He's got some moves in the open field that are fun to watch.
So about 15 yards left, 25 yards right, and 10 yards forward, and he moved the sticks. Now he's got the ball again. Flag comes in late. Sitting right there at the 28-yard line. Let's see what it is. Haven't seen a lot of penalties in this game so far.
No, but 2 in the same drive by Iowa.
Personal foul. Illegal block below the waist. Offense, number 79. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat, first down.
It's the right guard, Sean Welsh.
Remember, just 10-2, and you have to be in the frame of the body now to block below the waist.
So they'll back him up.
Can they once again overcome the penalty?
And be behind the chains again. But this is also taking seconds off the clock, and even if Nebraska's able to get the stop, giving them less and less time to work with. Huskers only have one timeout, as you see on the graphic there. Called a couple earlier in this first half. So a minute and a half to go. 17-point lead for the Hawkeyes. Daniels gets a couple. Josh Kalu toward the bottom of the pile, along with Michael Rose-Ivy.
And I think the Hawkeyes are going to run the ball, run the clock, and force Nebraska to take a timeout if they want to stop this clock.
Yeah, C.J. Beathard standing well back in no hurry to get into the huddle. 4 of 7 passing, 108 yards and a touchdown. No interceptions for Beathard today. Total offense for the Hawkeyes in this first half, 295 yards to 143 for the Huskers.
Huge explosion plays that have helped out.
Yes. Daniels again for just a little bit. Josh Kalu was the one around his ankles, and it will set up third down and long. Timeout, Nebraska. And while Mike Riley and company take the opportunity to stop the clock, their last opportunity, we take a look at our Pacific Life game summary and what has happened so far. It's all been about explosive plays for Iowa.
No question. Wadley had the long run where he did some great moves, and then McCarron catching the ball and running away from people. LaShawn Daniels rushing it, getting a big yardage gain, and then getting taken out for a break, but getting to come back in and score the touchdown, which is awesome play by his coaching staff.
Had a 56-yard run, took a play breather, came back in, and got a 4-yard touchdown run. So explosive plays, the story of the day for this Hawkeye offense, and now on third down and 12, they could use another.
They needed it. There was only 38 seconds left, and Nebraska getting the ball to start the second half. And normally you would anticipate those big plays coming from this Nebraska offense, not the Iowa offense. Flip the script today.
Victory formation here with a kneel down on third down, and Nebraska can't stop the play clock. So a great first half on senior day for the home team. (20-3) Hawkeyes, as Armstrong and the rest of the Nebraska team head off to the locker room to try and regroup and figure out a way to make it happen in this second half. So Iowa 20, Nebraska 3, second half coming up. Lots of football to check in on this Thanksgiving weekend Friday. We will do that back in the studio after these messages and a word from our ABC station. You're watching ABC Afternoon College Football, presented by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry. Kinnick Stadium, Iowa City, where the 16th-ranked Nebraska Cornhuskers trail by 17 points to the homestanding Iowa Hawkeyes as we get ready for the second half kickoff. Allen Bestwick College Football Hall of Famer Coach Mike Bellotti. A couple of interesting numbers for you. Nebraska held below their per-carry rushing average in that first half by the Iowa defense, while the Iowa offense almost doubling their per-carry average in the first half against the Nebraska defense. How do you fix it if you're the Huskers?
Well, that's more math than I can handle. But if you're the Huskers, you got to do better on third down. They're 2 of 9. You got to stop the explosive plays. Iowa's got 295 yards of offense. They average 326 per game, 295 in the first half via 3 explosive plays. Stop the explosive plays, you got a chance.
Hawkeyes average about 4 yards a carry, 4.3. They're at 9.4 yards per carry in this game rushing. While on the other side of the ball, Huskers average 4.4 per carry on the season. They're at 2.9.
Credit that offensive line of Iowa. Also understand the Nebraska defense is having to crowd the box, and when you do that, you have one less player in the back end to stop those big explosive plays.
You heard Mike Riley talking about it during the halftime. So, Huskers get the first crack at the ball. Ron Caluzzi kicks off. Jordan Nelson will see it sail over his head. Nebraska will start at the 25-yard line. Chris?
Yeah, I talked to Coach Ferentz about those explosive plays. I said, is there anything in that defense that you're seeing that you can exploit? And he basically said, no, we got a hole and got lucky. I did ask him if he sees anything different out of Tommy Armstrong today. He said, I don't care if he's injured. He always looks good to me. He did say, if they want to take him out, though, that'd be fine by me.
I'll bet it would. Armstrong injuring his left hamstring a couple of weeks ago in their game against Minnesota. Did not play last week. Starting here today, though never went full speed in practice this week. He's going to throw this one over the head of Brandon Riley. Looked like just a throwaway. And a little confusion on the part of the Husker receivers as they were chatting going back toward the huddle.
If Nebraska is going to come back in this game, it's not going to be on Tommy Armstrong today. He can't do what he does with his feet. So it's on Jordan Westerkamp, Terrell Newbies, guys like that. They've got to make plays when they get the ball in their hands. You got to get some type of quick, explosive score to get this game back on kilter.
Newbie in the game now at setback. We'll have the ball here. Nice play off a block on the outside by Ben Neiman, 44 for the Hawkeyes.
Iowa continues on defense to play with great eye discipline, great control of the line of scrimmage. They're making sure that nothing gets outside and nothing gets over the top deep. Keep everything underneath and in front of you.
So quickly, it's third down and long for Nebraska on this very important opening possession of the second half when you're down by 17.
Both coaches point to this as a turning point in the game, the first possession of the third quarter.
Armstrong going long. Morgan gets behind 2 defenders, but got slowed up just enough getting through him that the quarterback and he couldn't connect.
Nebraska, unfortunately, the 2 Iowa defenders ran into each other, rubbed each other off, and allowed the receiver to go deep. This ball just overthrown. That's been something today. Armstrong has thrown the ball a couple times down the field, just slightly overthrown every time. Frustration mounting for him.
Yeah, and for the entire Nebraska offense. And so the punt team is on the field. Caleb Lightbourne will kick. Desmond King is back deep right, and Riley McCarron is back deep to his left. King calls for it, takes it at the 30. Makes a couple miss. Finally pushed out of bounds inside the 30-yard line. There is a late flag that has come in. Right at the scene of the pile on the sideline. Jeff Servinski is our Big Ten referee, sorting it out with his crew. And they'll take a minute to sort it out some more. It was a 43-yard punt, 45-yard return, depending on which way the penalty's going to go.
After the play was over, personal foul, kicking team, number 7. Half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
That was Muhammad Barry who got ticketed for the foul. The redshirt freshman linebacker making a play on special teams and getting ticketed.
Desmond King says, if you're not going to throw the ball in my vicinity, then I'm going to return these punts and I'm going to make you pay. Great move right there. Made the guy miss and then continued tiptoeing right along the sideline. Step back in there, just continues to go. They finally get him out of bounds, and it's just a late hit because he's out of bounds. All right, it's tough at the sideline, as we talked about. Great field position for Iowa.
Trailing by 17, Nebraska not scoring on the opening possession of the third quarter, and Iowa in good position here on the first play. It's LaShawn Daniels rumbling down inside the 10-yard line.
Not only not scoring, giving up the huge punt return, a penalty added on, and now deep in the red zone, trying to bow their back and keep Iowa out.
Yeah, they need to hope that they can find a way to limit him to a field goal now. So Mike Riley's team with this one hanging on by fingernails at this point, the way that the beginning of this third quarter is unfolded. Now, mind you, Nebraska, one of the best fourth quarter teams in the country. But how far behind will you be when you get to that fourth quarter? Daniels pushing forward, driving toward the goal line before he'll finally be stopped. At the 1-yard line, LaShawn Daniels.
Will this be a game by the time we get to the fourth quarter? I think that's the big question.
Yeah. First and goal, Hawkeyes at the 1.
There are very few teams as effective as Iowa once they get in the red zone. They're the top 20 in the nation. 91% of the time they're going to score down here. So Nebraska has to bow its back, come up with some type of miracle.
And a lot of the times when they score, it is a touchdown and not a field goal. Beathard throws to the fullback. Touchdown, Nebraska. Iowa. That was George Kittle. I'm sorry, the tight end who got it.
Just when you think that power football is going to resurface, they run the bootleg, which Beathard does so well. Finds the H-back in the flat.
Kittle, the senior from Norman, Oklahoma, who has missed some time since the Purdue game with a foot injury.
Is a touchdown. Is under further review.
That look right down the goal line was a good shot at it. The question was, did the knee hit the ground before the ball creased the plane of that goal line?
I think once again it's going to be tough. Right here it looks as if the ball breaks the plane. I think if our angle, which is not quite right down the goal line, right there, he may have broken it twice. You're right. So we'll see.
All right, right there. Knee is still up off the ground. Ball, knee. But again, that camera's not right exactly on the goal line.
Right.
Is it indisputable video evidence beyond all doubt? Call on the field was a touchdown.
Yeah, right there is that first swipe when he pushes forward. Looks as if he might have broken the plane.
After review, the ruling on the field stands as called. Touchdown.
So third touchdown of the season for George Kittle. And now the point after try coming from Keith Duncan.
And this was not the start to the third quarter that Mike Riley anticipated nor wanted.
Missed it.
They got
flag down.
Great jump. They might have been offsides. They got a great jump off that left edge.
Offside. Defense, number 10. Half the distance to the goal. Replay the try.
Joshua Kalu. So now the offense coming back onto the field for the Hawkeyes.
Well, they said if you're going to do that, we're just going to go for 2. The card must tell them that's what you should do at this point in the game.
23-point lead, so we're going to make it a 25-point lead.
I don't carry my card with me right now.
I was just going to ask. Where's that coach's card? Empty backfield. Beckford going to try and run it. Not going to get there. Well read by the Husker defense. And so it will remain a 23-point lead for the homestanding Iowa Hawkeyes. The big kick return sets up George Kittle's touchdown. It's a happy senior day for now here in Iowa City. You're watching the Big Ten on ABC. Very cool scene during the media timeout. The cell phones and looks like a bunch of fireflies inside Kinnick Stadium. A lot of happy people here as their Hawkeyes are up by 23 points on number 16 Nebraska early in this third quarter.
They grow those fireflies bigger in the Midwest.
Yeah. Touchback. And Huskers will start from the 25. Rivalry weekend, of course, Saturday at noon Eastern on ABC. The game in Columbus between number 3 Michigan and number 2 Ohio State, with a potential spot or spots in the college football playoff hanging in the balance. It'll stream live on the ESPN app and on Watch ESPN. There's some of the history and some of the numbers. The big question is, who do you like? Michigan at Ohio State.
I like Ohio State. I think they're a better athletic team. I think that they're more up and down. Michigan is more consistent, but Ohio State's more talented.
All right, so Nebraska takes over at its 25. Of course, the quarterback questions at Michigan and so on. Here's Trey Bryant with a nice run. He'll get a first down on first down. Pick up 11 before Brandon Snyder knocks him down.
And they're going to need the running backs to get hot here to take some of the pressure off Tommy Armstrong and his injured leg, that injured hamstring. He's not running like he normally does. And it may have affected his passing today, too, but they need the running game to get started.
Divino Zigbo into the game. Haven't seen him in a bit for the Huskers. Here he is for the first time today to see if he could be a spark for their running game. There's Bryant again. Get about 3 on first down. Back downstairs to Chris.
Alan, there was really hardly any communication downstairs between Tommy Armstrong and the rest of his offense. He had a small conversation with Jordan Westerkamp, and that's about the only conversation between the two that I've seen all game. No one yelling, no leader out there. The other interesting thing is that Armstrong hasn't been on the bike. He hasn't done anything to try and re-warm up that hamstring.
There's Jordan Westerkamp on the sideline. One of those team leaders you said we were going to need to see a lot out of in this second half. He's not in the game right now. Armstrong throws to Bryant. Tackled nicely around the shoe tops. There's Ben Neiman again for Iowa.
Westerkamp, one of their biggest playmakers, and coming back on the field now, but for a long third down opportunity. Like I said, they've got to make some plays from somebody other than Tommy Armstrong. He's hampered today. They knew that going in. Some of these other guys have to step up.
Westerkamp slot near side. Terrell Newby back in the backfield to his quarterback's left. Third down and 8. Armstrong throws to Westerkamp. Complete. And he's out across midfield and into Iowa territory.
And they need a repeat of that type of play. Westerkamp got hit pretty good going out of the game. He may not be 100% either. Looks like he's running a little bit gingerly on course of this route.
Boy, he took a licking there.
That's part of the game.
Brandon Snyder. Good timing on the hit, but Westerkamp obviously feeling it on the sidelines. So Nebraska down to the Iowa 46-yard line with a 1st and 10. Armstrong and his receiver, Stanley Morgan, not on the same page, and the ball goes incomplete.
A lot of times you have go routes that convert basically if you get off coverage or too deep coverage or something, but obviously right there, Tommy Armstrong not on the same page as the receiver, just as you said.
Late flag just came in.
I don't know if they said something to the official about being held, or Tommy Armstrong voiced an opinion that the official didn't like, but Something happened back there.
Might have been Morgan, because he was right near the referee where the flag came out.
There is no foul. Incomplete pass.
Okay.
Second down.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe it just fell out of his pocket by accident.
All right. Well, second down and 10.
Yeah, it doesn't change the down and distance.
That's right. Westerkamp started to run back on the field, but then went back to the sideline. Really, it just feels like a huge series here for Nebraska. They've got to get some points, and they've got to get 7. Across the middle. Incomplete.
I agree with you. They sort of say, the heck with the running game. We're just going to throw it. We need some big plays. But right now, as we talked about before, there doesn't seem to be a lot of chemistry between Armstrong and his receivers. They're just always a half a step short, or ball slightly overthrown. They got to make some plays. They're putting a lot of stress on the offensive line because they're drop back passing. And right now, Iowa knows that Tommy Armstrong is not the same mobile guy that they've seen on film.
So third down and 10. They need the 36-yard line. Under pressure, throws. How did he catch that? Morgan pulled that ball in. Defender had a shot at it, Anthony Gare, but it got through him. Morgan grabbed it and hauled it in for the first down.
Well thrown ball under pressure. Watch this, right in Armstrong's face, coming right up the middle of the field, steps away, but perfectly thrown ball, fingertip catch by Morgan. Just what you talk about. If you can touch it, you can catch it.
That was a grab. So despite the emotional miscommunication earlier in the game, Morgan with a key first down for the Huskers. And the target again. Incomplete. Flag comes in.
Emotional miscommunication. I like that. I like that. I might use that sometime.
Feel free. There's no trademark on it. Desmond King's going to get called for a hold or interference. One of the two.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 14. Probably placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
Desmond King is a lockdown corner. He sort of says, anytime you come into my territory, I'm going to know where the ball is going to be thrown. Here he's being very physical with the receiver, probably obviously a little bit too physical. Yeah, he's got him. He wheels him around. He wanted to go for the ball. Got caught by the officials.
So ball down to the 24-yard line. And a fresh set of downs for the Cornhuskers.
Remember the last time Nebraska got points in the north, they got helped by a penalty down there also.
Here's Trey Bryant. Hanging on around his feet as he tried to get the edge was Josie Jewell. But a nice gain. Give him about 7 yards on first down.
Danny Langsdorff needs to keep balance in his play calling. He's got to run the ball to keep that defense honest. They've got some big plays via the passing game, but they've also got trouble into some long third downs. Running the ball early, especially successfully on first down, puts them in a 2nd and 3 situation.
Take a shot here.
I would if I could.
Swing it outside. Newby hit. Dropped right by the markers. Brandon Snyder well read that one and got there. And it's going to be a yard shy of the first down.
You know, the back out of the backfield on the wheel route sometimes almost acts like a natural pick from the wide receiver. But that one, great job of getting through the traffic to make the tackle short of the sticks.
So key third down here. 4 of 12. Third down conversion attempts today for Nebraska.
Power running set from Nebraska.
McNitt is the fullback. Newby is the tailback. It's McNitt, the fullback. And he'll have it. First down, Nebraska. So move the chains and put the ball down at the 13-yard line.
I don't know that Mike Riley will settle for a field goal. I think he's got to get a touchdown to get back in this game.
Well, you're not a quick strike offense so much as Iowa's been today with the big plays you've given up. You need to get 7 here. Bryant again with a nice gain. Followed Ozigbo right up into the center of that line. They're down to about the 8-yard line before Nathan Buzada got him.
There's a lot more energy up front from the Nebraska offensive line. They're getting push. They're getting movement on that Iowa front 7. They're pushing the defensive line back, and that's not easy. Jaleel Johnson is one of the best players. Very violent, good strong hands. To block him, you're doing a great job.
Armstrong throws for the end zone on second down, batted away. That was Joshua Jackson there again in coverage. Remember that starting cornerback Manny Ragumba was knocked out of the game earlier. They're trying to put some stress on some of the backups, and they've stood up well.
Watch the push. Jaleel Johnson right in his face. A nice job. Get the hand, knocking it down. Joshua Jackson being right there, not interfering, just knocking the ball down.
So it's third down from the 8-yard line. They can get it first at the 3. Flags in. There's movement on Nebraska. Might have been Cole Conrad.
False start. Offense, number 11. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
It was Ethan Carter at the right end of that offensive line. So now it becomes a 3rd and 10.
Crowd noise might have had a little bit of an effect. Oftentimes, as you get farther away from that center, you're trying to sneak a peek and sort of anticipating the snap count.
Drive that started on their own 25-yard line. The Huskers have picked up 5 first downs on this march down the field. But they need another one here.
Westerkamp on the right. He's their go-to guy in this situation.
Armstrong throws in and out of the hands of Anthony Morgan. And it's incomplete. 4th down. Sorry, Stanley Morgan.
Had Westerkamp wide open on a double move route to the outside. Westerkamp stood with his hands on his hips in the end zone saying, I wish you'd seen me, Tommy. I wish you'd seen me.
So they do go for it here on 4th down.
Take a look, just see. Open there both times, and they had a chance for Morgan too. A little tougher throw, a little smaller window, but going for it on 4th down now. Obviously, huge play in the game for both teams.
They can get it first at the 3. Pressure. Touchdown, Nebraska. Morgan brings it in.
They might be starting their 4th quarter magic just a little bit early, and they probably need to.
The last one got through his fingertips after the great catch earlier on the drive. This one, he hauls in. Does he get across the goal line? Yes.
Yeah, and what a throw under pressure by Tommy Armstrong.
So point after try here by Drew Brown. Out of Zach Darlington's hold, and it's good. And Nebraska does get the 7 points. Armstrong a little the worse for wear after that throw. Pressure came, got to him, but he got the touchdown.
Immediate timeout.
It's a 16-point deficit. 1891, the first time these teams played, now playing for the Heroes Trophy. And a reminder that tonight after Arizona State and Arizona cap off the college football night, it's SportsCenter at night on ESPN. Kenny Mayne and Nicole Briscoe will have all the college football, college basketball, NBA, NHL, NFL, and everything else on your Friday after Thanksgiving Sports Day. Of course, it's streaming live on the ESPN app and on Watch ESPN tonight. I will be watching. So a 16-point game as Desmond King takes it. Won't get as far with this return, dropped at his 30-yard line. And a look now at our good hands play, brought to you by Allstate. One of the big explosive plays that have done so well for these Hawkeyes today, this Riley McCarron.
The ball looks like it was stuck right on the end of his fingertips. Perfect throw by C.J. Beathard, and a great finish by McCarron.
That was a 77-yard touchdown catch and run. And so the Iowa offense comes back onto the field today. They only had 5 plays of 50 yards or more the entire season coming into today. They've almost matched that total. Can the Husker defense get a stop and keep the momentum on the far side bench? Sean Daniels driving forward for about 3 before Josh Banderas stops him. That's really what it's about right now, right? Husker defense getting off the field.
They have to, and this is a 2-possession ball game. If you look at that score, 26-10 at 16 points. So if they can hold them, don't be surprised should Nebraska score that they go for 2. But it is incumbent on the defense to make a stand here.
So far today, Iowa's rushed the ball for 203 yards, Nebraska for 94. Both teams, the ground game, such a part of what they do. C.J. Beathard, the senior quarterback, gonna hand it off. Not much there for Daniels on that one. It's going to be 3rd down and about 6 for the Hawkeyes.
There's a renewed sense of energy for that Nebraska defense. I think certainly that offensive drive and being able to score the way that they did has given them some life and some energy. They know right now this is a huge 3rd down. They've got to find a way to stop this Iowa attack.
Hawkeyes have struggled on 3rd down all season. They are only today 1 of 5 converting on 3rd down. They need the 40.
Pressure look from Nebraska.
Beathard will stumble forward, almost back to the original line of scrimmage, but it's 4th down, and the Nebraska defense is going to get off the field without giving anything up.
And that's exactly what you want. You've got to have it on both sides of the football. The offense scores, the defense needs to get stops.
Freedom Akinmoladun, 91, got there. Rosta Zuris got there. And so the punter, Ron Calusi, is on. And Demorne Pierson-El, 3rd in the Big Ten in punt return average, backing up from his own 20. Beautiful kick. Will take it right at the sideline at the 9. He stepped out. They'll mark him at the 10-yard line, and that is where the Huskers will take over a 55-yard punt from Ron Calusi. But Nebraska has the ball back. 5.5 left to go, 3rd quarter. Nebraska in a must-win day to keep their hopes of getting to the Big Ten championship game alive. They need to win today and get a little help from Minnesota tomorrow, who plays Wisconsin. But for now, the Huskers have a lot of work to do on their own.
Yeah, and for now, as a coach, you just say, just win. I mean, worry about what you can control. We can't control what other people do, who beats who, but we control what we do on the field. Let's win this game today.
Last time on the field, the Husker offense took 14 plays to go 75 yards in 4 minutes and 53 seconds to put the ball into the end zone for the first time today. This time they started their own 10. Terrell Newby will have about 4.5 on the first down play before Josie Jewell knocks him down.
Good patience. They need Newby to break. He's capable of breaking some. At least he was prior to coming into this game, getting beat up a little bit. But they need some big plays from somebody else, and they need to avoid the 3rd and long yardage situation.
He's got a 63-yard touchdown run this year, does Terrell Newby, the senior from Los Angeles. Armstrong throws, knocked down. Josie Jewell read it and got a fingertip on the ball.
Ooh, that was scary a little bit, because if had been able to tip it up to himself, he would have walked in the end zone. Great anticipation. See him come under this. Nice job right there. And then he actually backhanded that. Had he put the little fingers together like you tell receivers, maybe that's why he would have been a fullback if he couldn't play linebacker.
There you go. So 3rd and 5 for the Huskers.
Obvious pass situation.
Knocked down. Incomplete, and it's 4th down. Faith Akakati got a hand on it.
One of the issues right now with Tommy Armstrong, not able to scramble, certainly not as well as he's capable of. The defense knows exactly where he's going to be, right in the center of the pocket. They go in with that idea, if I can shut it down, if I can't get there, I can block it from that angle.
So momentum swings again. Nebraska scores, their defense gets them off the field, but then the drive stalls out quickly and they punt from their own goal line, and they've got a lot of people up at the line of scrimmage, Iowa does.
Certainly the opportunity for great field position too.
One kicks it away. Big bounce. McCarron will take it. Flag comes in. It's going to come back. I believe there's a block in the back that's going to bring that one a little bit more back toward the Iowa goal line than it would be right now. So Jeff Cervinski will fill us in.
During the return, holding, return team, 10-yard penalty from the end of the run, 1st down.
So while they mark that off and set the Iowa offense up, reminder that tomorrow College Game Day is in Columbus for the game between Michigan and Ohio State, starting extra early, 7 a.m. Eastern Time, to cover not just Michigan-Ohio State, but all of the big rivalry games on this college football Saturday. Of course, you can see it on ESPN, streaming live on the ESPN app, and on Watch ESPN as well. Can you imagine the scene in Columbus tomorrow?
No, I'd like to be there. I can't imagine.
We could jump in the car.
That's true. All right. Road trip.
Beathard with a pitch. And Akram Wadley will be out to the 43-yard line, and a nice 8.5-yard gain on first down.
Iowa is built for this type of a situation. Got the lead late in the game and run the football, and they can do it. They can wear a team out. We talked about them being a heavyweight boxer. The body blows that they continue to rain on the defense takes its toll.
What's Kirk Ferentz writing on his note card there after a 1st and 9?
Run the play again.
They'll go the other way with it. Not much doing. Got about a half of a yard for Akram Wadley, and it'll bring up third down. Michael Rose-Ivy there. Wadley now over 100 yards of rushing on the day, in addition to his backfield partner, LaShawn Daniels, who's at 113.
Iowa's willing to run ugly, which means that they'll run some plays that don't look very good, but you keep running them, eventually they'll break them. Huge third and very, very short here. A lot of pressure on the Nebraska up front guys because they got to stop the initial push.
Brady Ross is the fullback. Daniels is the tailback. Daniels. Very close. Not sure he got it. Needed the 44. Checked the spot. Rose-Ivy and Kalu were there for Nebraska. Timeout. They're going to measure.
And I think the bigger question is, if it's short, do you go for it on fourth down? And I don't think so.
All right, while they get this measurement, let's check back in on some of the other games going on today with Stan.
All right, it's time for the CarMax Drive What's Possible update. Still possible for Toledo to leapfrog unbeaten Western Michigan into the MAC title game. Kareem Hunt trying to get them their touchdown run for the Rockets. They're down just 3 now. A couple other games, the Apple Cup update. Washington up on Washington State 35-17, and TCU up on Texas 17-9. Alan?
All right, Stan, thanks. So Washington, if they hold out over Washington State, goes to the Pac-12 championship game. That Colorado-Utah game tomorrow will be massive to see who gets the South title or the South spot in the Pac-12 championship game. So here, the measurement, Iowa came up just short. And so the punter Kaluzi steps onto the field.
I think this is a smart idea. Get rid of the ball. Your defense has played relatively well all game long. Don't give them the opportunity to have a short field at this time of the game.
And I say that carefully and checking the name on the back of his shirt because he and the quarterback both wear the same number. Don't you think the Nebraska coaches don't double check who that is coming onto the field too?
Watch the fake. Watch the fake. They are.
At a 55-yarder last time he kicked. Fielded at the 6. And Pierson-El gets it out to about the 10 as we take a look at our college football playoff rankings now, brought to you by PlayStation. So Bama and Auburn in the Iron Bowl, Ohio State, Michigan in the game, Clemson, South Carolina, and the Apple Cup going on now. And the rest of it, I mean, all kind of ways to take this discussion if you wanted to, but what happens if Ohio State beats Michigan and Penn State wins tomorrow and Ohio State's not even in the championship game? What about some of the potential 2-loss conference champions and how the committee might view those? We have a lot to learn the rest of this weekend, don't we?
And the committee will earn its keep if that happens.
Yeah, they will. So Armstrong and the Husker offense go to work at their own 10. Trey Bryant wrapped up. And again, it was a Kakati 56 for the Huskers who got through.
He does a great job. And, one of the things, Jaleel Johnson, an injury on the field, takes up a lot of space in there and allows the other guys around him to make plays.
Can't get the number of the Husker player that's down, so we'll try and get an eyeball on that in just a minute. Meantime, something very special happened in the lead up to this game and on the field just before the game, and Chris has that story for us.
Alan, it is 347 miles from Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, Nebraska to here at Kinnick Stadium. Today's game ball made that journey this past week, but by foot. It's called the Ruck March. Veterans associations from both schools carried the ball the entire route to bring awareness to veteran suicide. Each person carried 22 pounds of gear to symbolize the 22 veterans who, on average, take their lives every day. The long journey started on Thursday and ended today when they walked the final few steps into the stadium and presented the ball on the field during a pregame ceremony. Two students, one from Iowa, Drew Wary, and Nebraska student Katie Hauser, who are both veterans, were on the field to accept the game ball. This is the first time the schools have done the Ruck March, but they hope to make it an annual tradition. So about 9 days it took to walk the 347 miles.
Well, a great thing to bring awareness to a great cause and an important cause, and it was great to see those folks come marching into the stadium earlier. Cole Conrad, the right tackle, was the injured player. David Neville comes in his place for the 2nd down and 9 for the Cornhuskers. Armstrong throws, knocked down. Josie Jewell read it again.
He has a great instinct for the football, just knowing he's obviously reading the eyes of the quarterback and just looking, because I thought he had a chance to get a big play had he gotten that one. Watch him inside there. He sees it. His eyes are just right there, and I don't think the quarterback even saw him. He thought he was sort of caught up in the wash.
So 3rd down and 9 for the Huskers.
Looks like they're playing coverage right here, just a 4-man rush.
Armstrong batted away, threw it in the direction of Brandon Riley, but there was Ben Neiman, one of the linebackers, who came all the way out and knocked that one down.
A late break on the ball. They were very physical with the receivers down the field, but Neiman came underneath that long throw. Did a great job of extending to just barely knock that ball down.
Well, we've called his name, 4 or 5 times on some pretty big plays today. So the junior from Sycamore, Illinois, helps his defensive unit get off the field, and now the punt team on again. This time, Caleb Lightbourne is standing in his own end zone, about 3 yards deep. Short kick. McCarron waving teammates away, takes a big bounce. He'll field it and drop right at the 44-yard line. Smart play for him, but another tough kick for the Huskers and good field position for the Hawkeyes. And you think about Lightbourne, who's been in the spotlight some for this team, but he's been in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. He was not even expecting to play this year. Of course, he getting pressed into service when Sam Foltz lost his life in that car crash back in July. Iowa joining all the other Big Ten teams in paying tribute today. We'll show you what they did. They made it private. It wasn't something they did on the field. We'll show it to you after this 1st down play for the Hawkeyes. McCarron's got it. He'll get knocked out of bounds at the 40-yard line. So that famous pink locker room, when the Huskers walked in, they saw this. A letter to Sam Foltz's parents and a Hawkeye jersey in his honor.
The outpouring of support from other teams across the nation has been unbelievable and well appreciated, I'm sure.
And you see that they brought that jersey out and have it displayed on the Nebraska sideline. So Iowa doing its part to pay tribute to the Huskers' fallen teammate. Sean Daniels rumbling forward for a Hawkeye 1st down.
It's like a rugby scrum, and just get them up and push and moving, whole thing. And that's the Iowa attack right there. They're going to wear on you, push on you, and late in the game, it's tough to stop.
It's kind of an interesting thing because he's a running back, senior, 225 pounds. His brother is the center, the sophomore, 295 pounds.
Can you imagine if they flip spots? The center running the ball, I don't know.
So brother James Daniels snaps it off, and they'll hand it to LaShawn. He'll gain a couple, give him 3 down to the 30-yard line. Clock running down now to just over a minute to go in this 3rd quarter.
Nebraska needs some type of a takeaway. They need to create a turnover and get the ball back. besides keeping Iowa out. But they need something to happen positive for that defense and for their football team.
It's one of the things that the Husker defense has done very well this season is create turnovers. But no turnovers on the part of either team today in this one so far. 2nd and 7. Beathard under pressure. Down he goes. Michael Rose-Ivy in on the hit. Lost his lid in the process, so he'll have to head off the field.
With that thought in mind, let's come after him. Let's get the quarterback. Let's see if we can rip that ball out. You see that they bring the 2 inside backers. They cross stunt. They're bringing 6. There was a holding penalty. Didn't get called, but they got to the quarterback, created a huge sack.
If I counted correctly here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 white jerseys hit the quarterback at once.
Well, we'll have a meeting back at the quarterback.
So big loss. Ball all the way back at the 40-yard line. They need the 23. And that is where things will happen when we resume play at the beginning of the 4th quarter. Iowa leading the 16th ranked team in the country. But Nebraska has been superb in the 4th quarter this season. It's been one of the stories of their year. Can they make the magic happen again, or can the home team win? We find out after this message and a word from your ABC station. The numbers through 3 quarters here in Iowa City between Iowa and Nebraska. But numbers on the season for the Cornhuskers in the 4th quarter have been phenomenal.
One of the best teams in the nation. Look at the point differential, the +88, number 1 in the nation. They're going to need that type of differential right now, down 16 here to start the 4th.
Alan Bestwick, Mike Bellotti, Chris Budden with you from Iowa City. It is a 3rd down and 17 for the Hawkeyes to start the 4th quarter after the sack on C.J. Beathard.
That's for a screen.
There it is. Akram Wadley's got it. But he's got a lot of white jerseys around him. And it'll be 4th down and about 7 or 8.
The question is field goal range. Is this something that they'll try?
Well, they've got 2 kickers. They've got a long-distance kicker and a more normal range kicker. But the long-distance kicker is only 1 for 3 on the season. And it looks to me like the offense is going to stay put.
I agree. I think they're going to go for it. This is a good call, because a punt here would only gain you, if you hit it in the end zone, maybe 7, 8, 10 yards, 12 yards. So the reality is, go for it here.
They need the 23-yard line to keep the drive alive.
Nebraska playing coverage.
They bring 4. Beathard throws. Got a 1st down. Don't lose yardage before you get knocked down. That was Noah Fant, the freshman tight end. They'll spot the forward progress at the 21, and the Hawkeyes move the chains.
That was one of those instances where the defense played too deep. They only had to cover the first 7 to 8 yards or whatever. Watch the linebackers drop there. They get so deep that the tight end is able to make the 1st down yardage right over the middle, which is the easiest throw for the quarterback.
So Noah Fant catches just his 9th pass of the season. The freshman from, of all places, Omaha. And moves the chains on the Cornhuskers. This is Wadley. Gonna get stacked up. Get about 1 before he is dropped. And set up a 2nd down and long.
Back to the 2 tight ends and the 8 gaps, but nice job by Nebraska's defense staying gap sound. Even as they moved and ran that laterally, they still stayed in the gap sound defense they needed to be in.
So now in field goal range. Can the Nebraska defense hold the Hawkeyes to 3? Or will they catch Beathard for a sack again if the Hawkeyes try to throw the ball and put him back out of field goal range? All the things to think about in one of these 4th quarters, huh?
Never had to do it as a coach.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Timeout as the play clock was running down, and Iowa will stop it to talk about it.
You're not only thinking about those things, you're thinking about 10 plays down the road, too.
Well, coaches will talk it over. Kirk Ferentz and his team trying to keep a drive going. 14 seniors, including the 3rd of 3 Ferentz boys who got to play for their dad. Here at Iowa, that was Steve Ferentz, one of the offensive linemen. And of course, longtime coach Kirk.
Pretty emotional. Last 2nd and long, Nebraska came after him, got a big sack. Let's see if they do it again.
Near side, McCarron. Squirts through to about the 15-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd down and 3.5 or so for the Hawkeyes. What was senior day like as a coach?
It's always tough because it's pretty emotional to start the game. You're seeing guys that you've shepherded from boys to men, and literally for 4 to 5 years of their life and your life, and it's very tough because you become very attached to those young men. You've watched them grow up, and you feel like you're losing some of your children in a sense.
Know their families right from the recruiting process on. Yeah. So 3rd down here for the Hawkeyes. Can they convert and keep it going? Beathard will throw it away after getting outside the tackle box. Nicely covered by the Nebraska defense downfield and pursued by the offense as they moved the pocket.
Right.
By the lineman, rather.
Did a great job. And now kicking the field goal is a very smart idea because this makes it a 3-possession ball game for Iowa. So obviously they have to convert this, not allowed to be blocked.
So Keith Duncan, the freshman from Weddington, North Carolina, a Charlotte suburb, who most of us came to know when he kicked the game winner against Michigan a couple of games ago. Knocks that one through and adds to the Hawkeye lead, and he got hit, and a flag has come in. If they ran into him, it's a 5-yarder, and that's a Hawkeye 1st down.
You want to take points off the board, Coach.
Running into the kicker. Defense. The 5-yard penalty results in a 1st down.
It's always difficult. You can see the kicker right there, and then
It's just looking the other way.
Yeah, that's not very smart play.
Nathan Gary. So they move the chains, and the Hawkeyes have the ball. 1st and goal at the 9. They take the 3 off the board, but they get a chance to try and go for 7 and take some more time off the clock.
Time and a greater point potential is certainly a positive development.
So after thinking they've gotten off the field without giving up a touchdown, the Nebraska defense back on, trying to find another way. That was Daniels, down to about the 6. What a huge day on the ground for this Hawkeye team. They've got 2 rushers over 100 yards, explosive plays. The story of this one, Wadley had a 75-yard touchdown run earlier. Daniels had a 56-yard run that set up a 4-yard touchdown run 2 plays later for him. And also a 77-yard pitch and catch from Beathard to McCarron. Plus a 44-yard punt return. The big plays have been the story of the day for the Hawkeyes. Beathard in trouble, throws, and that was completely blown up by the Husker defense.
This is the risk in taking points off the board. You had a 3-possession lead, and now you're getting to the point where it's becoming a little bit more difficult. You're going to have to kick it again. This is the bootleg we talk about that they do. That's a poor choice of throw. He had to get that to save the distance back to the line of scrimmage, but putting it up like that's always dangerous.
Rose Ivy got in there, knocked him down. Couldn't find Kittle, the tight end, so it's 3rd down and goal. And the ball knocked away from its perch at the 6-yard line, so they'll reset it.
I'm going to guess we're going to see some form of pressure from Nebraska.
Beathard throws, touchdown, Hawkeyes! George Kittle. His 2nd of the game.
They were hoping he could play tonight. Weren't sure exactly how much he'd be able to do. 2 touchdowns is pretty good, though.
I think he's had a pretty fair senior day. So Duncan back on now for the point after try instead of the field goal when he got run into.
Nice job, Coach, taking those points off the board.
33-10. Kittle 250-pound senior from Norman, Oklahoma, who's been out since the Purdue game with a foot injury, only played a little bit in a couple of games. He's got a couple of touchdowns in this one. Look at our Pacific Life game summary. Tommy Armstrong came into the game banged up. Iowa's defense has basically challenged him to have to beat him in the air.
He's just been slightly off the mark today. That shows his frustration with the way he's been able to throw the ball or his receivers catch it. And on the other side of the ball, Iowa just coming up with big plays. Wadley, pass, yes, and just the reality is they had almost as many yards at halftime as they've had average for games this season. Did a tremendous job of exploiting the big play potential.
Well, you never know what's going to happen on one of these Thanksgiving weekend rivalry games. Just thinking about Alabama-Auburn and how Nick Saban has lost to Auburn more times in his coaching career than he's lost to any other single team.
Hey, late in November, rivalry games, you better come to play.
So Nebraska with a huge hole, and they'll take it out of the end zone. This is Jordan Nelson, and he'll only get to the 15-yard line before he's dropped by the Iowa kick coverage team. Let's drop into the studio with Stan.
All right, Alan, update for you from the MAC. Jarvion Franklin with the touchdown for Western Michigan. They go back up 10 on Toledo. Spotted the MAC title game on the line there. Boise State needs a win to stay on the chase for the Mountain West title game, but Air Force with a goal line stand just a couple minutes ago to keep Boise out of the end zone. Air Force up by 7.
All right, Stan. Wow. Falcons have tripped up the Broncos out west there a couple times in recent years. When did last year Air Force beat Boise State? And
yes.
Air Force went to the Mountain West Conference Championship game. Armstrong throws on the run, down the field, dropped! In and out of the hands of Pierson-El. He's going to draw an interference penalty, but he had a chance to pull that one in and take it to the house.
I was just going to say that.
Pass interference. Defense, number 15. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Nebraska needs some Tommy Armstrong magic. This might have been the play that started because he did everything he needed to do, put this ball out here. You see the interference, the hold right there. Tremendous opportunity to break free, but then he probably would have scored had he caught this ball, and Tommy Armstrong can't really believe it. He says, what else can I do?
Yeah, that's a tough one. So with the penalty yardage out to the 31-yard line. Swing it outside. And knocked out of bounds. That was Trey Bryant out of the backfield. Bo Bauer got him for Iowa. 2nd down and long. You know, they've had to throw the ball deep, or they have thrown the ball deep a lot today, have the Huskers. Those are tougher to connect on, for sure. But a couple times when they've had the opportunity, they haven't made it work.
It just hasn't worked out today, as you talked about, either slightly thrown too long or just some drop passes.
Knocked down, intended for Brandon Riley, and Joshua Jackson was there for the Hawkeyes.
One other question, down 3 scores in the 4th quarter. I'm not sure you can huddle up. I'm not sure why Nebraska's not in a no-huddle situation, simply because they have no chance if they go at this kind of a pace to try to get back in this game.
3rd down and about 9.5. Deep again, receiver's got a step, but the ball is about 4 yards too far and incomplete, and it's 4th down.
Once again, Carter, their tight end, was wide open down the seam. Tommy is sort of deciding before the play's even going who he's going to try to throw to. He's got to be a little bit better quarterback right now and read the coverage.
So the kick team will come on for the Huskers. And they'll give the ball away with 10 minutes and 17 seconds to go in this ball game. Trailing by 23. Lightborn will swat it. Fielded at the 26, coming near side. McCarron cuts back and is into Nebraska territory to the 45-yard line. Riley McCarron has had a big game, had the 77-yard touchdown earlier. He's had a nice return or two on some kicks. And now the Hawkeye offense is going to come back onto the field completely in command of momentum in this game at the moment.
With a chance to truly put this game out of reach. The reality is right now they can take time off the clock with their style of offense, and they will do that. And somehow Nebraska, if they want to try to win this football game, needs a takeaway from their defense.
The previous play is under review.
All right, going to have a look and see if he stepped on the sideline.
There was a pretty good collision just prior to him taking off, too. Both teams.
So right there, did that left foot hit the white line? And is it indisputable beyond all doubt?
Well, it's hard to say from this angle. It looks like he stepped out, but I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, the camera's not right down the sideline. But that might come back. That might be enough. We'll see.
Those are not easy calls, and I think the officials have got it right most of the time tonight.
Tom Herbert is the replay official for the Big Ten. Referee Jeff Cervinski also has the ability to look at it with that field monitor. You just saw that wince on his part, like, oh, I don't know if that's enough. Now, that's me putting captions on pictures.
I know exactly what you're saying. Let's see from this angle. That looks like he's out to me right there. I think that might be a better angle.
Yeah, there you go.
Replay was looking at the returner's foot potentially being out of bounds. The ruling on the field stands as called. Iowa's football. First down and 10.
All right, so again, it has to be indisputable video evidence beyond all doubt. And the call on the field was that he was not out of bounds, and so that's going to ride and carry the day. So spot the ball at the 45-yard line of Nebraska after the 29-yard return. And C.J. Beathard and the Hawkeye offense get ready to go to work with LaShawn Daniels as the tailback, and two tight ends, and Brady Ross as a fullback. Grind-em-out mode coming at you.
Your typical 4-minute offense.
That's a pretty good grind.
Yeah,
9 yards.
That's a good grind. And some would say because Iowa's offense has only averaged 326 yards per game and they huddle, that they are in 4-minute offense mode the entire season. Yeah. But tonight they've been exceptional. And the reality is they're going to take a lot of time off the clock, run as much time between plays as they can, and then pound the football and make Nebraska stand up.
So second and short. First down. Daniels will have it. And they'll move the chains and give us an opportunity to remind you about tomorrow at noon Eastern here on ABC. Number 3 Michigan in Columbus to take on number 2 Ohio State in the game. It is streaming live on the ESPN app and on Watch ESPN also. Urban Meyer, as Ohio State coach, has a pretty good record against the Wolverines. But this is the Wolverine team now in its second year under Jim Harbaugh, who has been very solid all year long, except for the one hiccup in the road when they were here in Iowa City.
Urban Meyer's been a pretty good coach in November, too.
Yes, he has. And a lot of folks think that Ohio State is playing some of the best football in the nation right now. Certainly the College Football Playoff Committee thinks so.
They're one of the most talented teams, and I would agree. From a statistical standpoint, they're as good as anybody in the nation. J.T. Barrett has been sort of up and down this year as a quarterback, but you know he's a veteran. You also know that he knows how to win big games. Good
article on ESPN.com's college football homepage earlier today about how strong Barrett's voice carries in the Buckeye locker room.
Talk about leadership and performance, and he's both.
Second and 7 for the Hawkeyes. They need the 23-yard line. Daniels will not get much. He's met at the line of scrimmage by Michael Rose-Ivy, and it sets up third down. Here's your pick for the top teams right now.
Yeah, no surprise. Alabama versus Ohio State, number 1 and 2, and then, but that's going to clear itself up. They're Michigan playing Clemson. The key to me is Washington. They're winning big today, but I think Colorado might be the best 2-loss team in the nation. We're going to find out.
Fascinating. Colorado playing Utah in Boulder tomorrow. If the Buffs win, they get a spot in the Pac-12 championship game. If they don't, USC goes to the Pac-12 championship game to take on what looks like Washington.
And I don't know if Washington wants a I'm sure they do. I'm sure they want a rematch with USC, but it could be tough.
Daniels again. Be just shy of picking up the first down, though. They'll drop him at the 25-yard line. He needed the 23, and so it's 4th down for the Hawkeyes.
Now,
they're too far. 25, 35, 43-yarder for the field goal try.
They're going to go for it. 3 points would put you at a 26-point lead, which means they could not. It'd be more than a 3. It'd be a 4-possession ball game. So there's one thing to consider. But also, if you can't run the ball for a yard and a half in your own stadium at this point in the season when it counts, why be here?
All the big bodies are in tight. First down, LaShawn Daniels.
The power back, 225 pounds, running over that left side of the offensive line made it look easy.
Well, what a day it's been for LaShawn Daniels. Now up to 149 yards rushing, 6 yards a carry. And the Hawkeye offense keeps the clock running. Now drawing down towards 6 minutes to go.
Kirk Ferentz sometimes doesn't win a lot of style points. He just continues to win. They have a chance now. They're on track for 8 or 9 wins this year. Potential good bowl game. Potentially a lot of other things. They can only control what they do, and it's win this football game today.
Well, again, because of the season that the Hawkeyes went through a year ago, so many expectations coming into this year. But, you know, as you know far better than I as a coach, every team is different. Every year is different. And even you can bring a lot of the same players back, and the whole complexion of the team can be different.
You're right. The unity and the chemistry of a team every year, more than the talent, more than anything else, determines how good that team's going to be. And then it's just a couple breaks and a couple injuries. Somebody staying healthy, somebody not staying healthy changes your whole outlook.
They have had their share of injuries here in Iowa City for sure. A couple of receivers. Offensive line particularly has been a juggle for them all season long. As Daniels again, a good first down carry. Second down carry, rather, sorry.
They're getting that good push right now. Remember, we talked about them, Iowa being like a heavyweight boxer. They're going to land a lot of body punches early in the game. And then late in the game, the defense is worried more about taking on the block than defeating the block and trying to make the tackle. So they're getting pushed back now. They got to somehow find some energy. Nebraska needs a turnover, needs a takeaway. But right now, Iowa just content to push that ball down their throats.
That last run pushed LaShawn Daniels over 1,000 yards rushing for this season. And remember, his tag team partner in the backfield, Wadley, has 861 starting today, and he's over 100 yards. Down to about the 17-yard line, and it sets up 4th down and 5.
I would assume we're going to see the field goal team on the field now. But they might run the clock down and think about it.
I'm going to assume they'll run it down, the play clock down, and then call timeout, the way Kirk Ferentz is walking down toward the sideline official, the line judge on the near side. So again, this Iowa team, if they finish this one up as it looks like they might, has a chance to get a bowl game, get to a 9-win season, which is a pretty decent year for a college football team, especially as competitive as the Big Ten has been this year. Timeout. Going to happen tomorrow in Columbus, and College Game Day is going to be there to preview not just that game, but all of the rivalry games on the final weekend of the regular season in college football. It starts at 7 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. College Game Day, also on the Watch ESPN website and on the ESPN app. And we'll get you ready for all of the big games tomorrow, including that one happening in Columbus between Ohio State and Michigan that has such implications for the Big Ten and the college football playoff. 4th down and 5. Offense still on the field. Quarterback kept it. Stepped out of bounds at the 4-yard line. The naked bootleg.
He lulled them to sleep. They thought so much that the only guy carrying the ball could be the running back. You see a great job. And Freedom just didn't believe his eyes. He thought the quarterback had the ball, but he said he can't be keeping that football. Nice execution by Beathard.
It was. So clock running at 3.5 to go. Maybe the most important stat for Nebraska in this fourth quarter is that they have only had the ball for 1 minute and 8 seconds in the fourth quarter. Iowa's offense has stayed on the field.
Wow, 1 minute and 8 seconds. Holy cow. That's domination. Who says time of possession doesn't mean anything?
Yeah, well, points per possession is the latest rage in coaching land analysis. And the points per possession have certainly been far greater for Iowa today than they have been for Nebraska. So inside of 3 to go, ball at the 1-yard line. Hawkeyes looking to add on to their lead. Daniels is the tailback. Beathard keeps it, gets hit. Didn't get there.
Down there at this point in the game, I'd give it to one of those power backs. I wouldn't let the quarterback carry the ball. He's going to take too many hits. Just give it one of those guys. Let them have a lead blocker, move the pile, or go over the top.
Now, C.J. Beathard has meant so much to this team in his career. As offensive coach Greg Davis, who was a coach at Texas during the Mac Brown years, says he's had a lot of good ones. And Beathard is right up there with the best of them.
He compared him to Colt McCoy, Major Applewhite. I mean, guys that won a lot of football games in their careers.
He will hand it. And into the end zone, untouched. For the Hawkeye touchdown goes LaShawn Daniels.
This point in the game, and at that point right there at the 1-yard line, Nebraska did not look up to the task of stopping Iowa.
Daniels, one of the 14 seniors on this Hawkeye squad, gets into the end zone for a second time today. And now the point after try from Keith Duncan. And what was that?
That was Kalu getting another break on the ball. He's blocked one and had 2 offsides penalties today.
Yeah.
Offside. Defense unabated to the kicker. Half the distance to the goal. Redo the try.
Yeah, weren't with us earlier at the very beginning of the game when Iowa scored their first touchdown. The point after try was blocked. But since then, they got a running into the kicker penalty. Iowa did in Nebraska's aggression to get to him that gave him a first down. And now this one that moves the point after try a little bit closer. Plays, every single one of them a running play. 8 minutes and 10 seconds that drive took. Into the end zone, Daniels for the touchdown. As we wind inside 2 minutes in this one, another quick reminder about ESPN's College Game Day tomorrow from Columbus, starting at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. 5 hours to get you ready for all of the rivalry games and lead you up to Michigan and Ohio State. You can see the show on Watch ESPN and on the ESPN app also. That Michigan-Ohio State game here on ABC at 12 noon Eastern Time.
You know, thinking ahead, I would think we've seen the last of Tommy Armstrong. I'm not sure I want to put him in there if he's injured at this point in this game.
You got a bowl game coming up, right? Make sure he's good for that. Kick returned by Jordan Nelson. And a lot of whistles and a little bit of scrum down at the bottom of the pile. Well, we mentioned tomorrow. Some great college football watching. Michigan, Ohio State, of course, the headliner, the Iron Bowl, Auburn, Alabama, that Utah, Colorado game. Clemson trying to wrap up with their rivalry game. And how about the Michigan State, Penn State game?
Every one of those games have college football playoff implications. That's amazing.
Riker Fife in, so indeed Armstrong will get the rest of the day off. Fife, the backup, who played last week against Maryland, has the pin in that left hand. Hit as he throws and throws over the top of Brandon Riley and incomplete.
I wonder if he really wanted to go in. He's been sitting all game long, and they've got Zach Darlington. They probably trust Riker Fife, but he is playing with a pin in his left wrist.
He's a football player. Of course he wanted to go in.
Well,
He's a football player.
down there, and I got a pin, and I had surgery this week, so he's a tough son of a gun.
Did you ever go down the bench to someone and tap them and say you're in and have them say, no, I'm not?
No,
I don't really want to.
I have to admit, I did. And if I had, I'd have looked at that guy a little cross-eyed.
You'd have kicked him right off the team is what you would have done. 5 hitters, he throws again. Slammed to the ground. Ball caught far sideline by Trey Bryant. And it's going to set up a 3rd down and long. Almost no gain on that one for the freshman running back. They're teeing off on 5 because they know he's in there to throw the ball.
That's exactly right. That front from Iowa is getting after it. They just know that they can smell blood in the water right now.
Down he goes. And 4th down and forever. When you think about Nebraska as their chance of the Big Ten championship evaporates here in this final minute of play, aside of the one real dud at Ohio State, you know, the overtime loss to Wisconsin, this has been a massive turnaround for this Cornhusker team in its 2nd year under Mike Riley.
Well, and that's what Mike Riley's a successful coach. He's done more with less everywhere he's been, and he'll find a way. Nebraska this year worked more on the end of games. Today it didn't really matter, but they've become better, won the close games that they encountered this year, and so they've learned from it, and they've earned the trust and respect of the players for coaches, and coaches for the players.
Lightborn will kick out of bounds, and a kneel down coming up to run the rest of the clock out in this senior day ballgame. Now a flag comes in late as some extracurriculars at the end of the play, and so we'll have one more penalty call as well in this one before it's over.
And that's about frustration and pride, and when you have great pride, it's hard to take a loss, and it's hard to get beat on the field.
Yeah.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct. Kicking team, number 16. 15-yard penalty. Iowa ball, 1st and 10. That's number 16's first unsportsmanlike conduct penalty of the ball game.
All right, so kneel down coming up for the Iowa offense. So Nebraska and Iowa both will look ahead to bowl games as part of the most wonderful time of the year. But for Kirk Ferentz and his 14 seniors on this Hawkeye team, it will be the happiest of senior days. A win at home over their adjacent rivals, Nebraska, and a big win at that.
And both teams will look at the bowl game as an opportunity, one, to finish a positive stretch for Iowa, to turn it around for Nebraska.
Hand it off one more time to wrap it up. And that'll do it. Big plays, the big key for this Iowa team, and then running out the clock late when they needed to with that 8-minute drive. And the final score is the Iowa Hawkeyes 40 and the Nebraska Cornhuskers 10 on Senior Day here in Iowa City. Don't forget tomorrow at noon Eastern here on ABC. The big showdown in Columbus. Number 3 Michigan and number 2 Ohio State. That's tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern. For Mike Bellotti, Chris Budden, and our hard-working and dedicated ESPN college football crew who sacrificed Thanksgiving to be here, Alan Bestwick saying goodbye from Iowa City.